questions and educate, Tampa Bay's agents on how to grow amazing businesses. Obviously, this month it's a little bit of a different topic because we're diving into commercial real estate. This is our second time having this topic on one of these panels, and we're excited to introduce our panelists in just a few minutes. If you'd like more information on, actually this isn't the right QR code, but there is going to be a QR code you'll see which will allow you to go to our YouTube channel, which you can find at Tampa Bay Real Producers, and you can see all of our different events and promotions and everything all the way through there. Now, with that being said, we do not have like a pay-to-play type of a program for real estate agents to be featured in our platform. It's unlike some other real estate magazines that you might be familiar with. Our agents are simply featured because they deserve it based on their production levels. But of course, we have costs, and in order to actually run events like this and produce the magazine, we have amazing, what we call preferred partners that support our platform. And these are your mortgage lenders and your title companies and your home inspection companies and roofing and staging. And there's about 25 different industries representing about 60 different partners right now that support what we do with Tampa Bay Real Producers. You can find all of them in their bios and exactly how they can help you in your business by going to tampabayrealproducers.com. There's a partners tab at the top. Click on it and you'll see little bios of every partner that we have in the platform. A few of those partners, though, step up to help support this particular event, which some of them do it every month, some of them will do it occasionally, and I want to make sure you know a couple of them right now, and then we'll bring up our panelists, and we'll go ahead and get rolling. First group I wanted to bring up was Chris. You're right in front of me here with Triton Insurance. I'm sorry, you're not with Triton Insurance. What am I talking about? Chris, you're with Homestretch. If I could get you a mic. There we go. Say a quick hello.
Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Chris Cimino. I'm with Homestretch. We help agents and homeowners sell houses faster and for more money. We do that by doing 5 quick cosmetic updates to home, all low risk, high return, clean outs and junk removal, painting, flooring and carpet, landscape cleanups, and pre-photo cleaning. So if you need help with a stale listing, if you have a house that you walk into and says, hey, if this house had that, we could sell it for this. That's what we do. Thank you, Chris with Homestretch.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. The Homestretch team, as Carrie and Mark, have supported a lot of our events here over this last year. There is Mike Hills in the house and Tiffany. They run Triton Insurance. If I want to bring them up, I think they actually have a quick drawing, by the way, too. Hopefully you guys have dropped a business card off. Do you have that box, Tiffany? You do.
Everybody got a card in there?
If you did not put a card in this box, you might want to do that.
Hey, here, let me just do something real quick here and tell you about something that's going on in the insurance world right now. Business card over there, Tiff. The rates have been off the freaking charts. If your premium was $1,400 5 years ago, it's $4,500 now, right? That kind of thing. It's insane. Huge thing just happened in the last 30 days. The reinsurance companies, right? The reinsurance companies, that's who insures the companies in case a major storm comes through because they don't have enough money in their pockets, so they have their own insurance, reinsurance. It used to represent 6, 7, 8% of their net operating fixed expense, 6, 7, 8%. Reinsurance went to 20, 25, and 30% of these. And I'm not going, woe is me, poor insurance companies got strangled financially. But the reinsurance shift just happened in the last 30 days, where rates, and this is commercial, this is auto, this is homeowners, are going to start getting reset. It's not going to happen quick. Bacon is still going to be expensive. Shit's still going to be expensive. But the insurance is going to start hedging down hard and fast. So that is awesome. That should be a takeaway today, that there's some relief coming.
Actually, this week, we had one company that took about a 30% decrease in Hillsborough and Pasco and Pinellas. Well, that was Frontline. And then Olympus took a 16% in other counties, too. And that's massive. That's a huge decrease.
So there's a war going on right now between Progressive and Geico to get more business. And if you have, Travelers is in the game, too, right? But Progressive and Geico are arch enemies, and they're fighting for it. So if you haven't had your auto insurance priced, call us. We are saving people freaking serious money. Anything you guys need in this room, let us know. We want to help you, want to support you. We want to help your jobs easier. And, here, we got a bottle of Boone and Hangen. 12-year-old Scotch. 12-year-old Scotch.
Big George is determining the winner, I see.
All right. We got Frank from Lincoln Lending.
Frank Jr.
no.
Wait a minute, is that?
Oh, wait, no.
That's Frank Jr. Frank Jr. Frank's mini-me. Frank's mini-me is coming up here.
Frank Jr. Thank you, Mike.
Let us know if you need anything.
Thank you, team. Frank Jr., congratulations. Don't drink it all in one night. Frank, while you're here, I'll have you come on up. Junior, senior, however you want to frame it. Frank, one of our partners with Lincoln Lending, and everyone knows him, Frank the Bank. He's got many nicknames.
Hopefully they do. All right. If you don't, you're going to find out right now. All right. So Frank the Bank, guys, owner and founder of Lincoln Lending Group, founded the company in 2003. I don't even know my freaking years. Long time in business, guys. I've been in business 26 years. We're going on 24 years in business. So not for nothing, we kind of know what we're doing. Talking rates, right? Yesterday was that big day in interest rates, right? Wasn't it? No, it wasn't. Because if you've been following me on my radio show and my Instagram and my social for the last 2 weeks, almost 3 weeks, I've been saying one thing over and over. Lock your damn loans. Because interest rates are not going down yesterday. And guess what they did? They didn't go down. But if you're one of the guys who reads the news and watches the TV and says, oh, rates went down, this is awesome, then you are not informed. And you should be informed as a real estate professional because you need to be informing your clients. I don't want to sound arrogant about this, but it's what I've been doing for 26 years. I have followed the rates. I have lived by the rates. That's how my family eats, are the interest rates, right? So why did they not go down? It's the same as the stock market, all right? News gets baked in. Have you ever heard that in the stock market? When they say that a company is going to have earnings reports and it's going to be this, or when they say rates are going to drop, it's going to be this, and then this happens. That's not good news because it was expected. The rates dropped 2 weeks ago. I just talked to a couple other originators who are not with Lincoln Lending in this town, in this room, and we all agreed the same thing. We told our clients 2 weeks ago to lock because the rates were going down on the news. Yesterday, the bond market did what? The opposite, because all we got was what was expected. Now, had they cut the rates by half of a point, we would have seen a great bond market. Right? And is it good that the rates went down by the Fed yesterday? Yes. Why? Because your consumers are watching the news. So let's be real. We're salespeople, right? Sell on the news. I'm standing here telling you the truth. But when I walk out of this room, I'm not going to go tell my clients exactly what I'm telling you this. I'm going to say, yeah, this is great. The rates are going down, but we should lock now, right? Here's why. Supply and demand. There's not nearly enough supply in this market if you follow supply and how many months supply we have for the demand that will occur when the rates really go down. All right? What does that mean? Prices are going to go up. We've got to get the buyers to buy now. So, what are the rates really? If you're working with a wholesale lender, I just pulled this up on the drive here. 2 days ago, I was locking 5.25 conventional with points. I was locking 4.875 government. Today, I'm locking 4.99 government, 5.5 conventional. I do have to charge for that rate. I can lock 5.875 with no points, conventional. We can lock 5.375 government with no points. But if you really want to get your client something, screw all these buy downs. Let's do an ARM. 4.625% today. 5-year ARM. Why is that a good idea? Because we all believe rates are going down next year. So anybody buying today is going to end up refinancing in the next 12 to 24 months. So with that, here's the strategy I'm giving your clients. Stop paying points. Stop negotiating buy downs. Give your clients the money. If I'm going to give you $10,000 today or $200 a month for the next 2 years, what are you going to take? Please God, take the $10,000. It's called time value of money. Take the money now, get into the house cheap, and next year refinance and then pay the points. Any questions on that strategy? Awesome. Follow the social media. Bernie just did one yesterday with Mike. We talked about it. We follow. Your clients love you when you give them true financial strategies instead of just selling them on the rates and saying, here's your buy down points. Be their partner. What else did I want to tell you today? Wholesale versus retail. Float downs. Everybody's talking about float downs. Oh yeah, let me lock and we'll float you down. That's for chumps. Float downs are for banks. Float downs are for people who don't have options. Why? Because that's all a bank can do. If the rates drop, the bank's going to say, yeah, we're going to float you down. We're going to give you half of whatever it dropped at no cost, right? Well, we have 55 lenders, so I can float you down all day long. You know what's better? Not giving you half, giving you all of it. When the rates drop, I pull you from this lender, and 24 hours later, you're approved at this lender on a brand new interest rate. You don't have to float down anything. So if you want to learn about all this, if you want to learn about AI with Thomas, if you want to learn about reverse mortgages, I want you to look at the piece of paper on your table right now. I've got 2 events. I'm buying you lunch. I'm spending money on these. Next week, we only have 8 spots left at the reverse mortgage seminar at Lincoln Lending Group. We only allow 12 people in the room. This is for consumers or real estate agents. We're going to teach you everything you need to know. Scan it, get one of the last 8 spots. The bottom one is October 14th. Thomas, who spoke on the Real Producers panel last month, amazing, by the way, with his AI, is going to be my keynote speaker on October 14th. All right, so you're going to hear about the most creative products, interest rates, and you're going to learn how to utilize AI to help you in your business. Woo, that was a lot today, guys. Follow me on social media. You'll get all the news. Work with my team, Frank and Edis, and they'll get you the best rates as well. Thank you very much.
Frank the Bank. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Love your creativity as well. All right, speaking of creativity, we just recently had one of our partners on our Top Producers Nation podcast last week, and that was Dusty in the back of the room. And I'm going to have her come up with the FBI group. If Melanie might be joining her, we'll see. But I know that they have an event coming up that you guys should be aware of. And the FBI group has been a great partner now with Real Producers for many years. We appreciate your support.
Does everybody know this song? Yeah, know this song? Somewhere along the music, it says "working for the FBI." So this is kind of like our theme song. It's called "Cool Woman in a Long Black Dress." So anyway, I just thought I'd give you something new to think about today as you listen to us. So Melody is one of our partners, and she's actually covering for us now Polk County and the other half of Hillsborough that I can't get to anymore. And we are a full-service residential and commercial inspection company, serving your needs from Hernando to Charlotte, from the water through Polk. And we are here. I'm not going to bore you with what a home inspection is. Anybody not know what a home inspection is? We're going to talk about 2 events that we have coming up. Did you all know that September is Realtor Safety Month? Huh? Yes, right? So it's really important that you guys take in one of these classes, because as you're working through your day, there are spots where you are completely vulnerable for something to happen, right? We always say it won't happen to me, but you never know. So all we do is raise your awareness, and we have partnered with Stewart Title, and we are hosting one that is agnostic. You may come. It is not associated with a brokerage, but we highly recommend that you come. There are flyers on your table. You can scan the QR code, get yourself registered. We're expecting a big event that day. We're looking to bring in someone who talk about self-defense at the end. So come on out and join us. I'm sure that you'll learn something that you didn't know, and we will make you think about how you currently do business. Oh, and there's a happy hour afterwards. So was I supposed to say that? Mm-hmm. Now who's coming? Now who's coming? Now we got your attention. All right. And then the other thing is a little more on the serious side. Guys, for 10 years, I have been bringing out mobile mammography into the communities. Right now, we have one that will be at Star locations, one in Pinellas and one right here in Tampa. If you haven't gotten your mammogram, or if you need assistance getting a mammogram, or you know somebody who needs to get a mammogram and just will not take the time to go do it, grab them by the hand, take them to the bus, and sit there until they go do it, right? I can't tell you over the years how many times I've had conversations with women waiting for their mammogram to happen, and how just anxious they are about walking through those doors and getting that mammogram done. Most of the time it's because they feel like something's going on, right? So we don't want to know. We want to be the ostrich and stick our heads in the sand. Don't let that happen, right? If you know somebody who's in financial trouble, we don't ever let anybody walk away. If you need a mammogram, we support it. And we will make sure that somebody comes along and sponsors them. So we'll be sticking around. If you need anything, new or old, before you buy, call the FBI.
Always respect partners that have great taglines. So that's a good one. Thank you, Dusty. We have two more partners I want you guys to meet. And we'll bring up Thomas with Stellar AI Solutions. You heard Frank mention him as one of the speakers at his event. There you go, Thomas.
That's right. Thanks, Frank. Good morning, everyone. You guys too blessed to be stressed? Are you too blessed to be stressed? Thank goodness. I love to hear it. If you got breath in your lungs, you got a brain, you got consciousness, you should be thankful, and I'm grateful for this group. My name is Thomas. I am the owner, founder of Stellar AI Solutions, and like most of you, I'm a real estate professional. I've been wholesaling, investing, creative terms. I'm a land guy. I entitle land for development projects, and I know your world. And just like you, I wore many hats. You know, I'm juggling so many things in the business, and it's just impossible to really focus on revenue producing tasks, right? You're just torn in so many ways. And as a realtor, I'm sure you guys didn't think that you would have to become a social media marketer, a content producer, a scheduler, a negotiator. I am answering phones. I'm doing follow-up, right? So many things that you didn't consider, and it just is hard to focus once again on driving revenue. And so what we do is we build AI-powered systems combined with AI agents. And it might sound really foreign to you because it kind of is really innovative and new. And basically what we do is we help you streamline your workflows, we boost your productivity, and my clients say on average they're saving about 40 to 60 hours a month not having to do all those low-level tasks. So we have AI agents that literally act as employees. Okay, if you were to go hire all of the employees that you would need to get rid of all these low-level tasks, well, it would be very expensive. It's almost like another business, right? You got to recruit, you got to go out there, hire, train, and then redo it all over again. And so our AI agents literally can answer the phones for you. They can schedule meetings with buyers and sellers, appointments, transfer calls. They do all your follow-up. They do all of your content. It is just an insane amount of work that they're doing. And if you are just tired of being stressed out, if you're tired of doing all of the legwork and you would like to focus more on your relationships and building that revenue needle so it moves forward, I'd invite you. You got little forms right here, or excuse me, little cards. There's a QR code. I dare you to go scan the card and demo one of our voice bots. I know up here it sounds glorious, sounds amazing, but until you actually experience it for yourself and have a conversation with our voice AI agent, you just won't get it. So I encourage you, go check it out. And for those that have been looking for something like this, you're tired of, once again, spinning all your wheels just to get back around the circle again, we have special offer for all of you guys here for 72 hours. Huge discounts, as you can see here right on the postcard. And those the first 5 people that sign up in the next 72 hours, I'm gonna give you an additional month absolutely for free. So go check us out. I promise you're gonna see the future of real estate. And as Frank said, if you really wanna do or see a deeper dive, we're gonna be hosting a meeting, October 14th. At his place, right? Yep, scan the QR code. And I'm gonna be doing a deep dive showing a whole bunch of tools that you can literally implement day one so you can start getting your time back, start getting more deals and less stress. Does that sound good?
Yep.
All righty. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Thomas. You can put it right behind you, bud. I love working with partners who creatively come up with ways to actually serve the real estate agents and be able to create parts of their business model that are designed to help agents in their business. And our last partner that has done just that as well for his model, I won't spoil it for him, but I will say that it's in the yacht side of things. So we'll bring up Michael Johnson with J Brothers Yacht Sales. And you can say a quick hello, Mike. You got it, brother.
Morning. Oh, hear me? Good morning. All right, so who's really good with numbers with the real estate market around here? How many homes do we have in the Tampa Bay area that you know? Home ownership. Does anybody know the number off the top of their head? Not one. Oh my God, I didn't mean to put all the realtors on the spot today. All right, so it's about 1.5 million. We have found in our research about 10% of those homeowners, 150,000 of them, are buying yachts and boats this year, okay? Now, there's a couple different ways that we work. Well, we're not here to add any more time and cost and time out of your schedule. We are actually doing an Anchor Up program. We've opened the doors to become an actual broker with us, but on a very easy scale to where we call what's called Anchor Up. We do a license add-on. Getting into our industry is a little bit difficult, and I know you guys are already time busy dealing with your clients, but what we're discovering is the clients that you have in front of you right now are already doing this. We have a bunch of realtors we've already started to work with that are going, look, my client has purchased a home on a waterfront, or they bought a home in Lakewood Ranch, and they are here for the first time moving to Florida, or they're transitioning up, and they are liking to explore Florida a little bit further, and they're getting into boating. This opens that doorway to you to go, what are you looking at doing boating? We have a full team that does this, and then we contract with you as just a license add-on where you don't do any work, you bring us in, we work with your client, and we let you know what the process is. You feel very informed in front of your client the whole time, and we close the boat and you get a commission check. If you don't know much about boat sales, we run exactly like real estate. It's not any different. We're listing boats for sale and putting it on the MLS, and we're looking for buyers to buy yachts in the market. But the difference between us and you is we're 10% commission. Okay, so if we're listing a vessel here in Tampa is a $500,000 average, it's a $50,000 commission check, you make 40%. So you can do very well with this in just building a referral program. And again, we don't want you to add more time, it's the clients that are already in front of you. Another statistic that's really important for you, every homeowner, when they buy a house in Florida, and if they do buy a boat, they will sell and purchase 3 more times during that course of ownership. What does that mean to you? It's a great way to keep in touch with them and look at all the commissional opportunities you have in front of you. Again, we're not here to add work. There are no costs to this. It's a 1-hour training. We give you all the assets and the resources. We actually put an app on your phone that has an AI support system. It is really simple. So we are doing this. If you want to talk to some realtors that have been working with us, we've been doing this for about 2 years now with realtors. Don and I have started to talk even more. We did a beta group of about 20. So we've been seeing really good outcomes, and we're expanding that further. So if you are interested, in front of you on the table, if you don't have it, there's my business cards there with a QR code that'll go right to my virtual card. Just text me Anchor Up, and I will text you back the link to the website to read more and a brochure on how to get started. And again, it's easy. You fill out a form, I send you an agreement that tells you you're going to get paid if you refer a client to us, and how the license in the future would work if you would like it. There are no costs. There's no times, there's no tests, there's no nothing. It makes it pretty easy for your side. And again, if you sell 1 boat per year, you could be looking at a check for between $10,000 to $20,000. I have one real estate agent working on actually a $2 million vessel right now, so you can kind of see where this all goes. There are opportunities out there in front of you with your current clientele, and that's what makes this very, very powerful, not adding any more time, okay? That's it. Any questions, please let me know. I'll be here for the rest of the time, too. Thanks, Don.
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it. All right, guys, let's give our partners a round of applause. We appreciate all your support. You guys want to learn about commercial real estate or what? All right, let's bring up our experts. First off, I want to bring up Mr. Cash Ely. Some of you might know Cash from a feature over the years in Tampa Bay Real Producers. Cash, we actually initially met him through the residential sphere, I guess you would say, building up his team and his business. He's been a team builder over the years. He's graduated from USF with a master's degree in marketing. Cash, within the last, was it 2 years ago that you pivoted to commercial? 2 years. About 2 years ago, Cash pivoted to the commercial space, has now done over $35 million plus in commercial deals since then, focusing mostly on medical and industrial as his niche, but I'm sure he has access to others as well. And so we're good to have you here today, Cash. Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you. All right, Mr. Tom Brubaker. Where'd Tom go? There he is. Tom, come on up. Over 35 years in the business, 16 years as the owner of an appraisal firm before founding Tampa Bay Commercial. He has really been dealt with all different types of asset classes when it comes to commercial over these years, but he writes here that his, preferred would be industrial. Is that a fair way to say it? Industrial as preferred. He sold more industrial buildings than any other property type. Last year, he was also the president of the Florida Gulf Coast Commercial Association of Realtors. There's a whole laundry list of honors here in terms of leadership roles that he's had. Founder and president of Tampa Bay Mergers and Acquisitions. Let's give him a round of applause, Mr. Tom Brubaker. Thank you, Tom. And then last but not least, Mr. John Burpee. Let's give John a round of applause. John is the CEO of John Burpee and Associates. Once again, over 30 years now of experience in commercial real estate. Has dealt with multifamily, industrial, mobile home parks, which I love that asset class, retail, office brokers as well. This is impressive. Has brokered over $900 million worth of investment real estate throughout the state of Florida. He was recognized as on the board as the #1 top producing broker in Tampa Bay in general commercial real estate. There is like a page and a half worth of affiliations and awards that I can read off if you want me to, but I will just say that he was the #1 Pinnacle Award winner for the highest producing commercial investment broker in Tampa Bay for multiple years in a row. John, thank you for being here. Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you. So we got some very talented and experienced and knowledgeable people in this space. So let's dive in. I'd like to, if for some reason we go through a question that you don't feel like you have anything you have to add, don't feel like you have to join in. We have plenty of other things we can get to. So we're going to go through as many questions as we can, in the next 45 minutes or so. And we're going to start with just what, in your opinion, are the best reasons? In this room right now, you probably have a mixture of people who run businesses, who maybe invest in commercial real estate, have an interest in investing in commercial real estate. You have residential realtors in the room who might also be dabbling with commercial or are looking to more get into commercial. So from your opinions, what do you think are the best reasons for, say, a residential realtor to get into commercial? And if you want to throw in there any of your own experience, I know, Cash, you've done both. I'm not sure if you two also have that, have done both or not, but just from your perspective, what do you think the best reasons are? We'll start with you, Cash, and then we'll go through.
Yeah, so for me, I just, I'm at Compass. It's a residential brokerage here in Tampa, and I just saw kind of a niche opportunity. There's 187 agents in my office with no commercial support. I saw that, and I quickly started studying for the CCIM, learning as much as I could, as quick as I could in the commercial space, and I ended up getting a ton of referrals just within my office without having to market. So that was my personal reason for getting into it. I just saw a need for it.
Okay.
I feel like I'm on the dating game.
You never know, Tom.
2.
You never know.
Man, I like numbers, and I was an appraiser, so for me it was an easy shoe-in. If you like, you don't like working the weekends, we don't deal a lot. It's a totally different industry, but I like the flexibility.
You stole my line. I was going to say no open houses and no weekends. The commercial market from the residential market is more financially based than it is emotionally based, as the residential market is. In commercial, if it makes money, it's sold. If you have a need for it, it's sold. I don't have to worry about someone coming in and saying, I don't like the color of the carpet, and I don't like the color of the bathroom tiles. And it's extremely financial based, and it's more of a need than it is of a want type of a situation. Oh yeah, no co-brokering. Both sides. And a lot less paperwork.
You're converting some people, I think, John. You might be converting some people over. Yes. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah. CashFed, you mentioned CCIM. Isn't that about a 5-year investment? Or can you fast track it? Or
So John was just telling me actually that he had somebody at his brokerage that did it in 1 year. So I'm really aiming to do that and knock it out as quick as I could. But yes, it can take up to 5 years.
Yeah, you can go at your own pace. They do have the classes scheduled all around the country. It is an investment. You'll put $10,000, $15,000 into it, but at the end of the day, you'll come up with basically an MBA in commercial real estate is what it's equal to.
In your guys' opinion, you touched on some of the differences already between commercial and residential. Just what is your honest opinion about whether an agent should do both? Do you feel like there's advantages to disadvantages of focusing on one or the other, or having the ability to provide both? What is your opinion on that? Start with you, John.
I think it's hard to keep one foot in each field. You're either in the commercial business or you're not.
Yeah.
Our organization, FigCar, is about a $400 plus member organization. We are strictly 100% commercial brokers. You'll find that it gets very difficult to keep track of the inventory, keep track of the numbers. When I hit my office every morning, my assistant has already run every brand new listing that I'm looking for across the market. It's on my desk. I'd hate to see trying to do both of that in the same time. I'd hate to see trying to look for, a $400,000 house for someone and trying to find a $5 million office building for someone else in the same time.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it takes two totally different mindsets. I've done both. I've experienced in both. In residential, it's more about selling lifestyle. In commercial, it's strictly about selling income and opportunities. So I think you just have to focus completely on one or the other. Personally, I don't think it would be very hard to be successful in both. I think you just got to pick one that you enjoy more and stick with that.
These guys are 100% right. If you have to pay the bills, and that's your only way to do it, you want to get into commercial, I understand. If you have to sell residential for a while you get started, we call them resimercial agents. And but do it for as short a period as you can, and that's it.
So, and I'm glad you guys were able to share that from what you just mentioned too, in terms of the timing, potentially the bridge there. Correct me if I'm wrong, but in most commercial deals, there is a longer time frame, right? You have to have that understanding and expectation getting in, whether you're an agent or obviously potentially even an investor in that space. Is that a fair assumption?
Depends on the market, depends on the product type. Give an example, I just closed a $9.5 million industrial deal, 15 days due diligence, all cash, close in 30 days.
Okay.
Some other deals, land deals, development deals, you could be strung out 3 to 6 months, maybe even a year, waiting on permits, waiting on zoning regulations, waiting on use. It just depends on the product type. It also depends upon the market and how hot the market is. Right now, Tom had talked about the industrial market. The industrial market is hotter than the apartment market was 10 years ago. It is just on fire. Everybody wants small bay industrial. It is the hottest thing in the market right now. Some examples of industrial. What exactly is the hot industrial? Yeah, so
Question was some examples of industrial. What are some examples of that particular asset class?
Yeah, small bay industrial means anything from about a 500 square foot workshop up to about 3,500 square foot. Then you go into what's called a midi box. Midi box is 3,500 to about 10,000, and then large scale is 10,000 and above. That small bay workshop type space is just on fire. Everybody realized that it's the new apartment market, that you've got a 100,000 square foot building with 45 tenants in it, and it's just basically like managing an apartment building. You just got 45 tenants. The difference is those 45 tenants only work from 8 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Mm-hmm. They're not 24 hours in the property. So the load on the property is much less. The management is much less. And you're dealing with people that are in business that's their livelihood. So they're going to pay their rent, because if not, they're going to be out of business next week. It's not like they're just going to be moving from apartment to apartment. They're closing their business, or they're trying to find a place to move their business to.
Makes sense. Anybody else want to add anything there?
Warehouse and distribution, I think, is what John was saying. The e-commerce businesses kind of took over, put the demand on industrial, and that really dried up the industrial market for like the last 4 years. Finally, we're starting to see a little bit of activity, but a year and a half ago, if I searched Tampa Bay for warehouses, I'd find nothing. It was really, really tight. So I had to go find another specialty.
Yeah, you can see it up and down the I-4 corridor. I mean, you've got City Furniture. If you've driven by that, it is absolutely huge. You've got Amazon's warehouse all up and down through Orlando. It's just proof that that's huge.
Let's take a second and maybe just quickly go through the different asset classes for people who maybe are new to this particular space of commercial, like maybe some quick benefits that you've seen in working with, say, office or medical or industrial, multifamily we mentioned as well with apartment buildings. If you have, I know we've already shared a little bit about what your personal favorite is, but we haven't really harped on in terms of why. So if we can hit on that, we'll start with you, Cash, your experience with the different classes and why you like industrial. or medical you mentioned as well.
Yeah, I absolutely love medical. A lot of our clients at Compass on the residential side end up being some sort of a doctor for the most part. We have a lot of doctor and attorney clients, and so we just naturally kind of get that lead flow onto the commercial side if they're looking to expand into more space, or if they're at a large group at a hospital and they're looking to branch off. I get a lot of that, and it's fairly easy to find them a space because they're gonna go in and gut it from a white box to however they want it, regardless. So there's not a lot of particulars that they ask for, other than maybe square footage and a little bit of build out already done for them. But to me, it's an easy transaction, and I've got a lot of those clients.
Okay.
I consider myself actually a generalist. I work all different market sectors. Institutional offices are dead. Those are going to be redevelopment projects. Retail is great for investors. John Burpee here is a specialist in investment property. Of course, you have industrial. Don't buy vacant land unless you have a lot of money and you want to park it for a while, because that takes long time to develop. But what cash does in medical is pretty hot. So there's a lot of different commercial property types, and then there's subtypes within each of those.
Yeah, I started my career in multifamily, and I'm still a multifamily investor myself. I just bought 78 units in Brooksville. That end of the market has always been traditionally a very strong place to put money. Everybody needs a place to live. Nobody needs a medical office. Nobody needs a office building. But apartments have always been the most stable aspect of our industry. We also run a fairly large property management company, manage about 2,400 apartment units in this area, about 1.5 million square feet of industrial, about 1.5 million square feet of mixed-use office, retail, marinas, golf course. My firm even manages the FIGCAR organization. So it's across the board. You can think of our firm as a cap rate firm. If it's investment and it's got a cap rate at the bottom of it, and I can put a value and assign a cap rate to it, that's our firm. So it's an investment standpoint. If you're looking to put money to work as a return, that's us.
Yeah, and I was going to ask about that, just your experience in working with investors. What percentage of your clients are investor focused versus, maybe a doctor who just wants to buy something for their own practice, right? So can you elaborate a little bit on your experience with those two different types of clientele?
Typically in the medical sector, it's more of a one-off, but I do get a lot of referrals within that particular space. Investors are really the best way to go because a lot of times they're going to come back for more and more. That's the whole point of what they're doing, is to bring in more income, so they're going to keep buying more properties. So long-term, investors are the way to go, and building those relationships with them is super important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's two types of buyers. You have your owner user, and you have your investor. And when we get into the valuation part of it, the valuation's different for an owner user and an investor. So owner users tend to pay a little bit more than the investor. But if it's not tenant occupied, it can go either way.
Yeah, Tom hit upon something really good there, is that, if a manufacturer coming to town is looking for a 50,000 square foot warehouse and they need it tomorrow because they have $1 million contract with McDill, they'll pay a premium to get into that building tomorrow.
Right.
We went through this last year. We represented a group out of the Midwest that ended up buying a 150,000 square foot building. And I told them, I said, you're overpaying for this. They said, we really don't care because the intrinsic value that it brings to our business on the backside of a 10-year contract with Lockheed, it doesn't matter. The $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 that we're going to lose in value, it doesn't matter. We're going to make that up the first month.
Yeah, and you mentioned earlier, John, that you do work a lot with investors with your particular business model. So I'm assuming that's not the mindset of most of your clients, right?
No,
in terms of the investor side.
Yeah, nor me either.
Right. So how would you define what's most important if you're an agent in the room who either is interested in investing potentially yourself for your own portfolio and wanting to get into commercial? or you know that you can build a network of investors who might want to get a good return on their investment and build a portfolio. What do you think are some important things, and this could be an answer for any of you, I know you've all worked with investors, what do you think are some important things that an agent should know that you think would speak the language of the investor that's going to make certain things attractive? Like what's most important to them?
That's a great question. Investors are looking for a rate of return on their investment. That would be cap rate, based on the first year of acquisition.
You want to define cap rate just for anyone who might not be familiar?
Capitalization is short. Cap rate means capitalization rate. So that's the return on investment of the first year of acquisition based on a cash purchase. So somebody might call and say, hey, I want to buy an investment property. And then you say, okay, what's your budget? Well, I don't have one, but I need a 6% cap rate. Now your price is a cap rate. We have to figure out what that is. And the commercial real estate's all about formulas. And I'm not going to explain that because it takes about a week to get through it. But yeah, it's based on formulas.
I'll give you the abbreviated version of it. You have to know how to underwrite a deal. And let's say that any of you today can get a phone call from one of your clients, and I have a 10-unit apartment building and I want to sell it. Great, I'm going to take the listing. And he hands you a P&L statement. Take that P&L statement and throw it in the trash can because it's worthless. Every sector of the market has its own industry standard for underwriting apartments, underwriting industrial, underwriting office, underwriting whatever you're going to underwrite to get to a bottom line cap rate. I get packages from brokers that I'm an investor, like I said before, out in the market looking at stuff, and they have $300 per unit down for maintenance. Well, my property management firm, I get the straight data out from my property management firm, we averaged $1,800 per unit per maintenance per year last year. So when I look at something that hands me a $300 maintenance fee, oh, and there's no management on that property. Oh, and by the way, the guy's doing all his own maintenance himself. He's cutting the grass himself. Oh, and by the way, he doesn't have wind insurance. So delving into each individual line item in today's market is extremely important because my buyer is going to do that. And if I hand him something that is a 30% expense ratio on a market that tends to lean towards the 50 to 55%, I'm going to look like an amateur.
And that's one of the hardest things I had to learn whenever I made the transition was to turn down listings. I've had to turn down a $5 million listing, and that's just because the numbers don't make sense. They're not going to add up for a buyer. It's going to be a waste of time for everybody. Getting them to understand how the numbers work and showing them how it's going to sell and stuff like that. Sometimes it's just impossible to do, and you got to let them learn the hard way and maybe come back when they want to be more reasonable. But that's an experience I've had.
Yeah, we turn down more listings than we take in our firm, basically. And I'm not kidding when I tell you that last month we turned down $100 million worth of listings.
And is that related to, is there a certain target cap rate that you're looking for in order to determine whether you'll take on the listing or not?
Yeah, the market right now is trending in different categories. Apartments are between a 6 to a 7.5 cap, depending upon whether it's a class A, B, or C type of an asset. Industrial is pretty static at about a 7 or a 7.5 cap. Like Tom said before, on vacant land, it's the kiss of death. It's tough to comp. It's tough to put money into because it's a money pit basically. You're paying for insurance, you're paying for property taxes, paying for everything else in your holding period. But when you look at and you underwrite a deal, you really have to dig in and do the line item underwriting across the board. And every different market or every different segment of the market is going to have a different category that you're going to have to look at.
So for people to simplify it, cap rate, if you were, and correct me if I'm wrong, would basically be your ratio of revenue over expenses in that particular asset. Is that a fair assumption?
No, you put $1 million into something at a 6% cap rate, you get $60,000 back. It's basically a 6 cap rate.
Of whatever the purchase price is, right?
Whatever the multiple is. Yeah.
Got
So
it.
you take your NOI, divide it by 6, and that's your multiple.
Got it. And so you hear of, at least I do, of certain investors who tend to invest a lot in off-market type assets that maybe are getting some pretty aggressive cap opportunities. I've seen things as high as 10, even 15 in some cases, and then seasoning it for a while and trying to get over 20% cap. I mean, what is your experience with like what's realistic, what's pie in the sky? Obviously, those deals probably exist, or else I wouldn't, people wouldn't be getting them. But what do you think is a realistic time frame, or not time frame, but a realistic expectation that should be set?
You don't want a building that has a 10% cap rate.
You're talking Class D warfare?
Yeah, that's Nebraska Avenue, the old plumbing supply warehouse built in 1940 that's falling down. That's a 10% cap rate. So Class A, man, back in the day, like the restaurants like Chick-fil-A, those were selling at a 5% cap rate. It's Starbucks. And so the lower the cap rate, the higher the value. The higher the cap rate, the lower the value. And that's something that people can't wrap their head around.
Yeah, there's a ratio there of valuation versus like cash on cash return, right? There's almost a different equation, you would say, with the two mindsets in that world. Does that make sense? Cash, you want to say something there?
No, that's exactly right. Anytime there's a higher cap rate, you're gonna see more risk. You're gonna see a property that needs a lot more work. It's typically for an amateur investor, that's a riskier way to go. The safer routes at Class A or B.
Cool. Anything you want to add, John? No?
It's just quality of tenant,
Yeah.
and that's where you look at. What Tom hit upon, would you rather have a Starbucks at 5% cap rate and you're going to get your check every month for the next 20 years, or would you rather have something down on Nebraska Avenue that, you're going to go and chase the people away?
Right. I get it. It makes sense. Talk a little bit about how you've built your business in terms of the clientele side of things. Did you ever have to go down like aggressively marketing to find the right types of clients? Was it all organic and just kind of came to you as you got into the business over time? Talk to us about like the client acquisition side. How has that looked in your experience?
No, you have to go beat the bushes. There was a time when I was Don Hill. I had a panel of experts. I brought a guy up that sold $500 million a year in just storage units. I had the best guy for retail and had this panel of experts, and I brought them all up one at a time. What is your secret sauce? Everybody had the same answer, and that was, I will outwork everybody. I am up early in the morning before dawn, and I work until dusk. I will outwork everybody. It's hard work, and you have to be creative and do a lot of research, find your market, and go after them. Find the owners and contact them. Knock on doors. That's how you start.
The best advice I ever got from a billionaire who was a good friend of my grandfather's, this was very early in my career, was you stay even with your competition Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. You get ahead of them every minute after that. And I've lived by that motto my entire life. I'm one of those guys that I don't sleep. I'm an insomniac. It drives my wife crazy. I go to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning and I'm up at 5. By the time I hit my office at 7 o'clock every morning, I've got every listing run that's ever been listed across the entire Tampa Bay area. If I got certain lists of properties that I'm looking for across the state, like right now I'm working with an investment group out of California looking for $20 million plus shopping centers. I've got all that on a watch list. So by the time I hit my office every morning at 7 a.m., it's there. It's in front of me. My wife and I were joking the other day that we actually still have the same dining room table that we folded envelopes on and we did mailers out 30 years ago. So she said she's going shopping for a new dining room table this weekend. So.
Yeah, what they said is exactly right. It's all about discipline and work ethic. It's cliche, but you get out of it what you put into it. There's a lot of work that it takes. And like I said originally, my market is going after residential agents, partnering with them and making sure their clients are taken care of and so that they get paid. But on the back end, I'm still doing a lot of research on my end, calling owners. A lot of stuff isn't on market. We do a lot off market. So finding properties, especially niche properties are looking for. I'm constantly, making phone calls, knocking on doors, sending emails, trying to get to that person that makes the decisions.
And if somebody is hitting the boots on the ground, so to speak, is that calling and reaching out to, like, obviously these owners of these buildings, they might not be on the market yet, right? So you're just talking about building those relationships, reaching out to people who just own those types of asset classes to see when, if any, they might be interested in selling. What would they be looking for if they were interested in selling? Is that a fair assumption as to how you'd want to approach that?
Yeah, that's how I do it. I work with a lot of restaurant clients too, and so trying to find second-gen restaurants in Tampa, especially because it's so popular, is hard. So I'm constantly just calling restaurant owners of those buildings and seeing, when the lease is up, if they're interested in selling, if they're looking to lease, stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, our market, the commercial market, CoStar is the lifeblood of our industry. And if you thought fees were expensive at GTAR, try being a CoStar member, okay? Our firm averages $2,500 a month just in CoStar, LoopNet, and Crexy bills for our agents. But that also comes with a tremendous amount of data. CoStar, I can pull up any property, any commercial property. I think it's 3,000 square feet and above now, anywhere in the nation. And the cross-tracking of information within CoStar, if I pull up your property, drill down in, look at your ownership group, I can also look at every other piece of property that you own across the nation, across the state of Florida, across Tampa, across the street. So I know your market and I know your business before I make that call. And a good example of that is, I touched upon this $9.5 million industrial deal we just closed. I pitched that at a pitch session for one of our commercial pitch sessions at FigCar. And the broker representing them at that time brought them over. Deal was done in 30 days, bang, bang, bang. Then they came to us and said, well, you're the manager. You want to stay on as the manager? Yeah. Well, I also know that you guys have 3 other properties over here. Yeah. Would you like those as well? So we took on all of their property management just because of the information that I knew out of CoStar and what they had.
What is your opinion or experience on, and you might have touched on this a little bit prior, like working with these groups, whether they're hedge funds, I guess even in some cases you might say like syndication type groups, compared to your individual investor who maybe does just want to build a portfolio and invest in commercial real estate. Do you prefer working with one or the other? Do you work with both? What's your thought on that?
Syndications are tough. The first thing I ask is, do you have the money raised already? And if they say no, I say, nah, it's probably not going to work. Someone that gets in, and I know the wholesale market is very big in the residential market, but commercial has caught on to this. And we now have clauses in our contract that say if you're flipping this contract, you have to disclose it right now. If you're a flipper going in and you want to try and flip this, guess what? We're making a commission off of your flip. And also, we're not going to allow you to make any money off of the flip. The owner's going to take that money as a flip. So basically, we bar a flipper from being, in a deal. Because all it does is tie the property up, keeps it off the market, and if they don't have the money, if they can't, produce proof of funds right up front, we usually don't end up working with that client.
Yeah, there was a while before I even started Real Producers on a personal side where I was working as working with a hedge fund that was, my job was to basically try to get rid of the daisy chains. Right? That was my main focus. And I found it to be challenging because there were so many people who were claiming to be the actual owners of the property and looking to sell the property, and they really didn't have any actual ownership of the property. And then, of course, there's ways to figure that out on the back end. But having those conversations was it enlightened me as to how much of that is actually prevalent in the industry, I guess.
So I shared this with FigCar about a year ago. I had this happen to me. I had my own package sent back to me. Had my own marketing package sent back to me as a broker. I called this broker and I said, hey, I've got a client. I see you have this, it's advertised on, I think it was on Crexy. Crexy's a little bit more lenient than LoopNet is and CoStar in that they'll allow you to put blind listings in. Yep. And I called and I said, hey, I've got this client, I'm interested, can you send me this information? He sent me my own package back to me without even realizing.
It's amazing. $50,000 more though, right? Yeah. All right, so I'm curious with your experience. I know, you guys cover a gamut from a couple of years of commercial experience cash to 30 plus years in commercial experience. What are some of what's one of the biggest challenges that you feel like that you've had to deal with as part of your career? Maybe it's market specific, maybe it's not. Anything you feel like we can learn from? I'm a big fan of trying to learn from people's failures and overcoming those challenges over the years. Something come to mind that you feel like would be a great learning lesson?
I guess for me, since I'm the newest one, getting to the decision maker, like we were just talking about, that can be really, really hard. So if it's an off-market property and you're trying to find the person that actually makes a decision, sometimes there's multiple people. CoStar is a great resource, but sometimes it's really, really hard to get to them. So it's frustrating. And then the timelines. I came from a residential space where you're 30 to 45 days. I just closed on a gas station that took me 15 months. So that was a long time to get used to something like that, but I'm used to it now because I do a lot of leases too, so I do a lot of short-term stuff, but I also do some sales. So those are the two biggest things, the gatekeeper and the timelines.
And that timeline, was that mostly due diligence? Is that just taking longer than you expected? Yeah.
County issues, stuff like that.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
I had two challenges. One was COVID kicked my ass. I had all these investment properties under contract, and within a week, they all went bye-bye. Every single deal the investor pulled out when they had the shutdown. I had nothing in my pipeline. Do you have any idea how long it takes to develop new business and commercial, then get them under contract and go through due diligence and then get the close? It took a long time. That was number one. Number two was when the industrial market dried up. So that's when you get these big checks, you put it aside and you budget your money and you be smart so you can live in those lean times. You never know what's around the corner.
Yeah, Tom kind of stole my thunder. I was going to say weathering the storm. Commercial, everybody looks at commercial and they say, oh, you're making $1 million a year and blah, blah, blah. And that's true, but at the same time, you need that financial stability to weather the storm, because it may be 6-8 months between your closings.
Yeah.
A good example is I had a young broker that made a tremendous amount of money on one closing. The next morning he showed up with a brand new 745 BMW. And I said, when's your next closing? He said, well, I don't have one. I said, you got anything under contract? No. Guess what? 9 months later, that BMW is repossessed. It's just being budget conscious and having the financial wherewithal to stay in the business. I tell every broker that applies with us or wants to come on with our firm, you need to show me a year's worth of savings that you're able to live off of before I'm going to allow you to be with our firm.
That's a great way to go about it. I don't think a lot of people, that's one way to screen out a lot of candidates, I feel like. For sure. That's just great advice, I think, for any business owner to have as well, understanding that there's going to be storms in any industry. You mentioned earlier, and we're maybe have time for one or two more questions. If there is any questions that the audience has, feel free to let us know, raise your hand, and we'll get you a question in. But you did mention some of the things happening, specifically in industrial, that you were bullish about and excited about moving forward. I wanted to go back to just your overall opinions on, crystal ball, next 12 months to 24 months, if you had to share some things you might be excited about, whether these are asset classes or other things related to the market or even outside of the market, what comes to mind that you get excited about when you think about your industry over the next, say, year or two? Or it could be a longer time frame than that.
I'm optimistic about the market. We got hit hard with the tariffs, especially on the mergers and acquisition side. And now that is kind of settling in. The interest rates are starting to drop, and I think Trump is doing some good things. So we're very optimistic about turning the corner, having some very positive economic things going on. I think the market's going to loosen up and have a bull market.
Yeah, I agree. I'm also really bullish on it, especially just being in Tampa. Tampa Bay is booming. Businesses are relocating here. Anybody that's from here knows it and loves it. I love it. I've been here for a long time. So I see the potential it still has with rates coming down. I'm definitely bullish on it.
So I sold my portfolio at the top of COVID. We owned a little over 300 apartment units, 2 office buildings, 2 retail centers, and a couple of warehouses. I sold everything at the top of COVID. Kind of saw the top of the market The first purchase I've done in 4 years now has been the 78 units in Brooksville. I am all in on this market. I think we are poised for another major bull market in all real estate, not just commercial real estate. But if you look at the dynamics of, you've got an easing Fed, you've got an administration that's taking regulations off of a lot of industries across the board, whether it be through tariffs, whether it be through local impact on community development, whether it be CBO development funds being pushed down from Washington. I am very bullish on the next 4 years, and I am buying my portfolio for the next 4 years for the rest of my life. It's going to be one of those portfolios that I will live off the income when I retire. If that ever happens, my wife says, get it on film and I'll believe it. But it may happen in 20 or 30 years. I don't know.
Just out of curiosity, do all three of you also personally invest in commercial real estate, or are you working strictly as the broker side at this point?
Broker.
Both.
Both. Okay. And we didn't really get a chance. We don't have time to probably dig into this part of the question. But when you do decide to invest personally into an asset, are you generally partnering with private money resources to do such a thing, like the purchase you just had as an example, John? Or is that your own funds that you're using for taking down an acquisition like that?
I'm not good with partners. It's all our own money. Yeah.
Got it.
And or it's very select friends and family. But we always control the deal. We always manage the deal. And we always bring our expertise to the deal. So.
Okay.
So I kind of did the opposite of what he advised on, and I totally get that. But I'm opening a cigar lounge on Nebraska Avenue near Ybor, and that's only because I like to smoke cigars. So a couple of buddies and I, it's just a fun little project. So
I'm sure everybody here is invited as well, right?
Absolutely.
Of course. All right, last question I had, guys, and we really appreciate the insight here. It's interesting because most of our audience and most of the stuff that we do here, for those of you who are familiar, is obviously residential focused, right? And most of our topics are residential focused. But we've had agents over the years who do both and have expressed interest not only in working with investors who want to get into commercial, but also potentially investing in their own portfolio to get into commercial. And so I hope that this topic was one that opened up some people's eyes to maybe opportunities that you can get yourself involved with as a personal investor or in working with other investors. It's always good to at least have that knowledge, or at the very minimum, know who to go to, right? And when you come across those types of clients. But I am curious your opinion on, do you have like a favorite resource that you lean on or that you've learned a lot from to help you in this space, whether this is a specific author, a podcast, a connection of some kind, a community that you have learned a lot from? Anything come to mind that you'd recommend for people to check out more about this?
I definitely recommend the Bigger Pockets commercial podcast. If you guys haven't heard of that or listened to it before and you're interested in the commercial space, that's a great way to go.
No.
School of Hard Knocks. But if I follow one person, it's Ben Malla. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Ben. He's a big investor here in the area. I'm actually the broker that brought Ben from California to Florida. Ben owns John's Pass, a couple of hotels out on the beach. One less now. I just sold one of his Clearwater Beach properties. But great guy. Came up from nothing. Absolutely nothing. Came up, in the apartment industry, and that's how I met Ben. He came to Florida with his partner at that time, Mark Wilton, and is now worth in the neighborhood of about $500 million. Tremendous YouTube channel, tremendous following on YouTube, and does a lot of education stuff as well. Puts on a lot of seminars, and we kind of joined Ben in a lot of that stuff.
Very cool. Ben, what was his last name again?
Malla, M-A-L-L-A-H.
Very
Got a
cool.
question?
Yeah, thank you. So you just touched on it. I am very interested to hear all of your thoughts, or maybe just one particular unique insight that you have about what happened with the two hurricanes and the devastation, especially on the beaches. And what kind of opportunities are you seeing, or are you not seeing any at all? I'm just very curious about that.
So it didn't affect our business hardly at all. It affected my clients' businesses, obviously, that have hotels on the beach, Ben being one of them. The biggest thing that I've seen, though, is the loss of value in deals of not being able to build back. We've been asked to list a couple of properties out on the beach, and when we went to talk to the county or talk to the city, it was like, no, you're not building that many units back on that property. Good example is the Thunderbird. The guys at the Thunderbird are my clients, and they're having to now bulldoze one of the towers, rebuild it, going to go back up with towers. They were slated to lose 100 rooms at the Thunderbird, but they had enough common area space that they did away with the ballrooms, they did away with the meeting rooms and everything else, and they focused more on the unit count than they did on the ancillary uses of the rooms. But other small hotels are not that lucky. We've talked to property owners that after we get done talking to the city, there's 40 units on the property now, you're going to get 15 units back on that property because of the new density standards.
I think it's an outstanding opportunity for investors, however, both in the residential and the commercial side, to come in, buy these things super cheap. People will forget, rebuild, and I think it's an outstanding opportunity.
On the residential side, Anna Maria Island for sure. If you're interested in that space, it's a great area down there. There's some really good deals to be had in Anna Maria Island.
Question?
I'm curious, because you said you just happened to you saw a niche and you just learned about it. Where did you start?
In terms of learning commercial? So I have a mentor. I watched a ton of YouTube videos. I started the CCIM classes, and then I love to read. I read books. And a lot of it is, like he said, the school of hard knocks. Whenever I kind of told the firm that I was now the commercial broker for the entire office, I just started getting leads thrown at me, honestly. And I just kind of learned as I went a lot. And I've learned a lot of hard lessons, but it's also a quick way to learn.
I do have a warning of something like that. We don't know what we don't know. And if you don't know commercial real estate, and I see it all the time, don't try it unless you have a mentor or your broker knows as much as we do about commercial real estate, because you will be sued. It is easy to get sued if you know what you're doing. You will be sued. Do not do it without a mentor. Yeah, you see a $50,000 commission, that sounds great. You don't want to give half of it up. Give half of it up, learn it, and know what you're doing, but don't go it alone. It is not self-taught.
I would echo that. My granddaughter is my assistant. She's 24 years old, just got her real estate license. When she passed the test, the first thing I told her was, congratulations, you can now be sued. Okay. Going back to what I was talking about earlier with proper underwriting, I just see it all the time to where agents get in over their head and they don't understand the market. They don't understand what they're doing. All they're focused on is that, oh my God, I got a $2 million listing. It's the biggest deal I've ever had in my life. Rather than bringing someone like me or Tom or Cash in on the deal and having us underwrite the deal properly. We get a tremendous amount of referrals from residential agents all across the Pinellas County market like that, in that we'll also keep them in the deal. We'll try to teach them so they don't have to refer that deal to me next time. I'd love to have the referral. I'm grateful for it. But at the same time, I'd like to try and give back and see that agent grow and possibly be a commercial broker in the future.
And I do the exact same, and I'm so glad somebody else does that, because every deal that I do that I get a referral from an agent, they always ask me, can I be involved? I want to learn, and I don't mind at all. I'm an open book. That's what somebody did for me, and so I'm going to pass that along. I think it's super important. So if you have any deals like that and you want to work with somebody that will let you do that, the three of us definitely would.
Love that. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you guys for being here today. Before you jet off, I think we have a gift for you that we'll take a picture with in here. One of our partners does custom wine bottles for clients, and so we have a gift for all three of you that we'll take a picture with. Some of you might see floating around the tables these QR codes flying around. I just wanted to make sure you knew what it was. One side is a community. It's our school community, which if you're a realtor who would like to learn more about how to grow your business, what we call the 4 principles of top producers, you can find out through that school link. Next month, we will be here. Our topic is how to sell over 100 homes in a year. And we have some panelists. I believe Gina might be one of those, who will be on our topic next month. So we'll see you then. and have a great rest of your week. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.